This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Schola in the new Full Battle Rattle Studios.
No, the Mama Grizzlies, they rear up, and, if you thought pit bulls were tough, well, you don't want to mess with the Mama Grizzlies, and I think there are a whole lot of those in this room.
Lightning hits the Palin Update today. Women's wrestling making lots of news lately with the new Netflix show Glow now released. Today, one of the greatest, gorgeous ladies of wrestling of all, Lightning. Cheryl Rusa is here. Lightning talks about her amazing run with Glow, and she has some strong opinions on President Trump and Governor Palin. Stay tuned. The Mama Grizzly Radio forecast calls for Lightning on the Palin Update. Plus, we'll have the latest national and Alaska headlines in Sarah Palin News. We'll visit the Crow's Nest with Tanya Crow in California. And a brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert is coming up from Texas. Kelly Carlson is on assignment, no on target this week. Looking forward to Kelly's return. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio, available at mamagrizzlyradio.com and now available at sarahpalin.com by clicking the More tab. The Palin Update is sponsored by Full Battle Rattle. Full Battle Rattle, helping veterans suffering from combat-related disabilities through the healing power of music. Learn more at facebook.com/fullbattlerattle.abq. Today we continue with our Glow series, and we welcome in Cheryl Rusa, Lightning from Glow, and she is very much in tune with today's political ongoings. Not only is she a wrestler, Lightning is a Trump girl and a Mama Grizzly. And right now we welcome Cheryl Rusa to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Lightning, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm great, and I got to say, it's really cool to talk to you because Glow was huge for me and my friends. I mean, we were WWF guys as kids, and I mean, as you know, wrestling, that was the heyday, and the best time for wrestling was the mid-'80s, and, getting into that on the guys' side with Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff and all those guys, and then all of a sudden, this thing called Glow comes out of nowhere and invades our televisions, and I got to tell you, at least in New Jersey, we would have it on in the mornings, and then it was on also like late night as well, and I remember many a sleepover with a bunch of 12-year-old idiots watching you guys and loving every minute of it.
Saturday morning cartoons, right?
You got it. Real life ones. And I mean, the magazines, the VHS tapes, Glow was unbelievable. And, for those who still don't know, Glow was really the first and the best all-women production of wrestling, and started off in this small venue in Vegas and took on a life of its own. So I want to talk to you first. I know a lot of the women got into it in different ways. Some came as actors for a casting call, and others did have more of an athletic background. So how did Lightning get into Glow?
Lightning got pissed at her boyfriend.
Okay.
What happened was the show, the pilot aired, and it was Saturday morning cartoons, and he told me let's check out this show. So, because cartoons were over, so that's how old we were watching cartoons. So I start watching the show, and I'm thinking, this is stupid. And he laughed at me, and I'm like, what? And he's all, you're just jealous. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're just jealous there on TV and you're not. And I'm like, nuh-uh. And he's like, uh-huh. And then we go the boyfriend-girlfriend back and forth. He totally pissed me off. A week later, the show comes back on again. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to try to watch this stupid show. And I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, because I'm a total tomboy, I'm a trainer at a gym, and I have always been like my brother's little brother. And I'm watching them doing the wrestling and stuff, and I'm thinking, I can do that. And I said, I can do that. And he starts laughing at me again. I'm like, what? He's like, they kick your ass. All over again. God, he got me so mad. At the end of the show, they actually had a tag. Look, if you think you have the stuff to do this, to be a Glow girl, send your stuff in. I faked a resume and sent him a photo, and they called me.
And where were you living? Where were you living? Were you near the production?
No, I was in Redondo Beach.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
I
you
guess
were
that's not far from LA
right,
because they were, yeah, but everything was being shot out of Vegas.
right,
And
and they picked you,
yeah,
so then you come down because a lot of people were more from an acting background, but you came down more from a hey, I can do this wrestling background. So
yeah, it
I
just
found that
seemed easy.
interesting.
Now, I was interested in acting, and I just started trying to investigate doing acting, but I never really did anything. I had I was a trainer for this guy who was a PA, production assistant, and I asked him, how do you get in the movie industry? This was all going on while I was, you know, training, and right before or right around the same time that I ended up sending my stuff into these guys. And he just told me, you got to take acting classes, you got to do this and that. I had taken like 2 6-week, like 1 day a week, 1 hour, or a couple hours or whatever, improv classes. That's it. That was the extent of my acting. So I was just starting to try to do this stuff. I think that's what gave me the guts to even send my stuff in, besides him making me so angry.
So yeah, everyone has their own story of how they did it, and yours is a funny one from that standpoint. But then you get in there and really show your stuff and become one of the stars. And I mean, were you surprised at how it took off? Because, like you said, people looked at it and kind of laughed, and then before you knew it, everybody was on board, and it was obviously geared toward certain demographics. But I know people watched it from all ages, and men, women, and your grandmother watched it,
Oh,
and so did kids
the
and everyone
demographic was
else.
crazy. The actual demographic was 7 to, I think, 47, something like that. That's
Wow.
like unprecedented.
Right. Yeah,
That
it is.
big of a, yes, it's crazy. And we had no idea that it was like that. No idea how popular we were. I went on a tour with some of the girls. We went to Panama, and it was the first time I really realized what was going on, because they had, everywhere we went, there was, people had signs up that said "Los chicos de glow," and the girls of glow, right? And they were chasing us. They were like following our van around everywhere we went, and we were at this doing little promos here and there. We were at a baseball diamond, saying hi to this neighborhood, and they had guys standing on the diamonds. We were on the center, inside, towards the cage, or towards the, between the pitcher and the outfield, and the whole outfield was loaded with people. It was like packed all the way back to the fence. People were hanging off the fence. They were on both sides of the fence, through the street, and then there was an apartment building back there with balconies, a big apartment building, and they were hanging off the apartment building and the roofs. They were just, it was a sea of people, and on the diamonds there were guys with machine guns standing there to protect us, and it was just surreal. They said a few things, we waved and stuff, and they rushed the guys with the machine guns and surrounded us.
Wow.
And I'm like little, right? So I look around and I'm completely surrounded. I see, because Mountain Fiji was there, I can see Mountain Fiji's head peeking out behind all these people, and I just did a little kid thing because I'm little. I weaseled my way through everybody and found her, and then I grabbed her lava, which is her skirt, and sidled up right up against her and just said, "Go, Fiji, go," because she would just plow. She's so big, nobody could stop her. So she just walked right through everybody, and I just walked little baby steps behind her, hanging on to her so I wouldn't get buried. You could have got smothered in that crowd.
Smart
We got
move.
into the van, and they were chasing us up the street. I've got pictures out the back of the van. It was like we were the Beatles. It was crazy. Hard Day's Night.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd
Exactly.
never, yeah, or Elvis. I could not imagine how they could possibly live like that. We were there for like 8 days or something like that, and it was just a really big taste of, I mean, like a smack in the head on what the deal was. We had no idea.
But the difference here from the Beatles and Elvis is that the stars are women and instead of vice versa. So, different dynamic. Let me ask you this now. People starting to look at Glow now who may have not known it, and others excited that it's, back in the headlines with the new show on Netflix. And also those who have looked at the new show have taken a look at the movie that came out in 2012. So what's it been like these last few weeks with Glow back in the headlines and people talking about it internationally?
Well, people have been inviting us to conventions, comic book conventions, and as far as on a personal level, I've got people because I'm a trainer at a gym. I went back to training, and I'm a stunt woman also. But I have people approaching me and asking me about the new show, am I in it, and stuff like that, which is a bummer that they don't want any Glow girls involved in it. Cameos or anything. I don't know what the deal is with that. I think it has to do with legal purposes or reasons. But they are asking me about the show, and I'm like, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. No, I'm not in it, and it's like just coming back to the forefront. And I tell them where to look online for the old footage if they want to see the original show or see me as Lightning. So in my little superhero green and red, with my little cape flying around the ring.
It's tremendous. Governor Palin talks a lot about fight like a girl. That's a catchphrase she's used many times over the years on the campaign trail, and huge proponent of sports and whatnot. And, I just think about if Glow was still going on today, all the political themes that happened in Glow, where you had Nonichka and others involved with the USA versus whomever, it would be very interesting today, wouldn't it? The take that Glow would have on the political climate.
Oh, everything is so politically correct right now, and I think that Glow would, I don't know if they'd crucify it or what, because it was completely politically incorrect on purpose. It was crazy. I mean, they had two heavy metal sister girls chopping up watermelon with a chainsaw in the ring and forcing a black girl team to eat it. Right? And nothing was sacred. Nothing was sacred. They had full-blown Nazis, and they had KKK girls. They would always, of course, get their little butts beat in the end. They had the bad Russians. They had the Middle East terrorists, Palestina, the terrorists.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's completely politically incorrect, and I think that is why everybody fell in love with it. I honestly think that's what's going on right now in the political scene right now, is that everybody is so busy being politically correct that when Trump popped up and was just saying out loud what everybody was thinking, at least a lot of the people were thinking, that it just went to heart, I really thought Palin got crucified in the press. I love her. Strong person. I love that strong woman, and I totally identified with her, but I just got so angry that I've been normally, just like everybody else, watching your standard channels. And I finally started looking at the other channels, and especially with the whole thing with the race for president, I started purposely purposely recording. Like, I'd pick 3 different stations, like CNN, Fox, Channel 4, 2, 7, or 11, Channel 5. Those are like basic standard stations. And I'd record the same news time, and I was taking the time to watch like 5 hours of the same news from those different angles. And the only one that was being like right down the middle was Fox, and I was actually learning information that I did not have. The other ones were burying or brushing by or trying to twist it into a negative note. And I realized how much people are running around being, I call sheeple. Sheeple is somebody who is a person, of course, people, and the cross is a sheep. You're just herding along. Sheeple.
Absolutely.
Have
Yeah.
you ever heard that
Oh,
terminology?
absolutely. Yeah. And we've seen it from almost every Democrat, pretty much everyone, and unfortunately a lot of the Republicans too. And it's what you speak of Palin and certainly President Trump, who tapped into that. And, we appreciate you, Lightning, because I know some of the Glow girls are more liberal. I know some aren't really politically inclined at all, but, you haven't been shy. And as your friend Hollywood told me once, yeah, she's been a Republican forever, so we really appreciate the fact that, you're not afraid to speak out because, as we've talked about on this program with so many people, certainly in the entertainment industry, and now it's crossing over to sports, unfortunately, people are afraid to speak their mind because they are just shunned and, not taken seriously, or they are actually losing jobs out of it. It's unbelievable.
Well, I just think that everybody who is judging who is like swinging really hard, even one way or the other, they should catch a breath and do what I did. Purposely go out of your way and film different news channels and listen to what they're saying about whatever that is going down right now. And then your eyes will be open because you will see. That was a little bit of homework I did, and I also did some stuff on internet, like reading articles and stuff on the news.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see the heavy, as Trump keeps saying, the dishonesty.
Yeah.
About it, but
right. It's always been slanted. It's always been opinionated, but now it's just flat out lies or flat out omissions, and they're very brazen about it now. And that's since Obama, people have just flat out gone the other way here and said we're going to try to manipulate people, brainwash people, and trick people, and unfortunately it works for a good part of the population, but it didn't work because Trump called them at their own game.
Well, they're calling him a bully. I think they say that enough that I've heard it. But I was bullied when I was a kid, and the way they've been leaning on him and his family, especially.
Yeah, they're the bullies. Yep.
Yes, and it's easy for somebody who was bullied to see that.
Mm-hmm.
It stands out like a sore thumb to me, and it just rubs me the wrong way. I don't like seeing anybody picked on, even somebody as powerful as Trump.
That's a great point. We've talked about that too, about Governor Palin, about President Trump, about others. Sure, you agree with them politically, you like them, so on and so forth. But the fact that they're ripped apart so much and keep fighting and are unfairly lied about, and that some will always believe the lies, you want to fight for them even more because they are being bullied.
I want to know the truth one way or the other. If they screw up, I want to know. If somebody screws up, I want to know. I don't want the screw ups buried like the last administration.
Right.
And and I really wanted Hillary to be good, but she had been bad ever since her husband was in office.
Yeah.
There's just one too many things that she had done wrong that stood out like a sore thumb, and I didn't even have to be watching anything Republican leaning towards to pick up all the stuff that she was up to. I so badly would love to see a woman president in office, but I felt that if she got into office, that it would kind of like ruin it for anybody else running behind her, female that wanted to go into office.
Absolutely.
I thought she would be a very terrible first woman president.
You are absolutely right.
That we've got to kick out a better woman president. I honestly would love to see a woman in office, and there are plenty of them out there that are not so corrupt.
All right. Well, listen, I can file the papers today. We can look at, Lightning 2024. You got to pick.
They're gonna pull up all my Glow footage, and I'm gonna go, yeah, I own it.
That'll get you even more votes. Cheryl Rusa,
I
Lightning
will own it.
of Glow. We could talk to you for hours. You are great. We have to have you back here. We'll have to we'll have to do a wrestling one, and then we'll have to do a political one. You're tremendous, and I'm so glad Glow is back for those who missed it and those who never saw it. My kids are into wrestling now too, and I can't wait to show them this because my daughter likes to watch the women in WWE and whatnot. My son likes all the wrestling, but when they see Glow and the comedy of it and everything else, the campiness of it, plus the wrestling, I'm looking forward to that from a personal standpoint. So I hope the show takes off and gets people to do what you said, then look up the old actual shows and the 2012 documentary and everything else. But Lightning, keep rocking. You're great.
Thank you. I'll tell you my Facebook page if anybody wants to ask me any questions. I'll
Please.
be happy to answer them. It's Cheryl with a C, Lightning Rusa on Facebook. I also have a webpage, and it is littlebrat.com.
All right. We love it. For more on Lightning, Cheryl Rusa, try littlebrat.com. Great to have the Glow Girls here over the last few weeks. Glad to see how well they are all doing. They take Fight Like a Girl to a whole new stratosphere. Now it's time for Sarah Palin news, headlines, and more about Governor Palin. Speaking of fighting like a girl, Sarah Palin is suing the liberal rag, the New York Times, for defamation. Way to go, Governor. We're proud of you, and we have your back. Speaking of fake news, another rag, New York Magazine, wrote a hit piece about SarahPalin.com. I was mentioned in it, and the quote-unquote journalist wrote that she contacted all the SarahPalin.com writers. Well, for the record, no one contacted me. I would have gladly spoke about the governor's great site. Palin delivers a donut to Democrats. Happy birthday, Dakota Meyer. A Disney decision on the Donald. Sounds like the New Orleans mayor has other things to be worrying about than going after Trump. A swing and a miss for Elizabeth Warren. Things are getting heated in the White House press briefings. The Cubs were number one last year, but did one North Sider show the wrong one finger to the president? Orrin Hatch won, PETA nothing. Sarah Huckabee reveals her role model. Palin the GOAT? Prayers for a brave woman in Vietnam. Unspeakable evil from ISIS. Melania is a mama grizzly too. And big thanks to Sarah Palin for featuring my latest story on SarahPalin.com. Please head to the site. Check out my Billy Joel story. To read about all of these stories, visit the Mama Grizzly Radio Facebook page. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety and to read her devotionals, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page. Follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA, and don't miss the new SarahPalin.com. Now let's head to the crow's nest. Here's Tanya Crow.
Thanks, Kevin. Happy 4th of July, everyone. I was truly inspired by President Trump's speech where he spoke to the veterans of this great nation, and just a great reminder of this new leadership who holds the values and the foundation of this country's beliefs deep in his heart. And I've always found him to be a person of great patriotism and love for all that this country has to offer, and how important it is to stand up for and to fight for the rights that the Declaration of Independence so beautifully put forth many centuries ago. And I just wanted to address how easy it is to hold somebody to a standard that may be above and beyond what should be expected of all of us. It's important that we remember that we are all flawed. We are all a whole package with great traits and some not so great traits. And really one of the greatest gifts that we could give ourselves and other people is to acknowledge that. So from this flawed gal to my fellow flawed countrymen, God bless you, and God bless the USA. This is Tanya Crow with Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tanya Crow on Mama Grizzly Radio. More from the Crow's Nest next week.
Now, the Palin Update with Kevin Scholla presents Liberty and Legacy. Here's Tamara Colbert.
Americans do hard things. The Founding Fathers created an independent nation and gave shape and substance to the system of government that has endured longer than any other in the history of the world. Our founders acted on the boldest political vision. They staked their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor on the conviction that the people are sovereign, and thus began self-governance. These men, and I'm sure their wives who helped, intended to prevent the concentration of power that currently exists today at the federal level. America was founded as a representative republic, not a democracy, as some would like you to believe. The purpose was to elevate the citizen, not a centralized, heavy-handed state that would control the daily lives of everyone. The will of the people matters. We are supposed to be the special interests. There shouldn't be groups that are lobbying for one thing or another. You and I should be the lobbyists in chief to make sure our will is being done. And with Independence Day ahead of us, there's no better time than to re-exert our power and work to restore it than right now. I have the best day job in the world working with the Convention of States Project. Convention of States is the largest Article 5 grassroots organization in the nation, based on the premise that Article 5, Section 2 gives state legislators the responsibility, the duty to restore the Constitution as needed through proposing amendments. The Convention of States Project was founded because Washington has grown too big, too corrupt, and we know will never fix itself. But as sovereigns, the Constitution gives us, we the people, through our state legislatures, the power to fix it. The founders' vision was to never surrender our sovereignty. But unfortunately, over the past 100 years, this slow creep of big government, whether it's waste, fraud, abuse, or corruption, or crony capitalism, or the deep administrative state, either way, it's made citizens frustrated with all levels of the federal government. And despite elections, Congress has not changed, has not tackled the problems the citizens want them to address and fix, nor has it attempted to. Just look at how badly they're messing up the Obamacare repeal. Seriously, Congress, a full repeal means just that. Repeal every word, period. The time is now for dramatic action, or we're going to go the way of the other republics before us, Greece and Rome. Preserving constitutional order is our first responsibility as citizens. And because of that, because the sovereignty is ours, the success of the American Republic and the preservation of the Constitution ultimately rests with you and me. Article 5 gives us the authority to protect the Constitution and recalibrate that balance of power between the states and the federal government. That is an awesome responsibility that legislators I've worked with don't take lightly. We believe in the possible. Americans do hard things. I can't emphasize it enough. My great-grandfather crossed an ocean in a small ship named the Mayflower in search of a land where Christians could worship God in their own way, without interference of a big government or a monarch. We conducted and participated in one of the largest military invasions in history on D-Day, when 160,000 troops landed on 5 beaches within 24 hours. Why? To liberate the European continent from the Nazi fascists. Naysayers would also tell you that we would never get to the moon, let alone hold an iPhone and all the power it gives us in the palm of our hand. Hard things is what we do. It's in our DNA. So convening a meeting between the states to have a conversation about solutions that would fix the problems we have at the federal level, this isn't an immovable, unsolvable riddle. Wait a second, maybe for Congress it is, but not for our state legislators who reside closest to the people, which is exactly where our power was intended to reside. Today, the most important protection we have against a growing federal state is the people. Convention of States opposition will try to tell you that Justice Scalia, for example, opposed a constitutional convention, and on that fact, they're correct. He didn't support an open-ended constitutional convention and come up with something new and throw out the old. But he did support an Article 5 Amendments Convention. And in 1979, at the American Enterprise Institute panel discussion on Article 5, Scalia supported using Article 5 to hold the federal government accountable. He said that he trusted the American people and was least terrified of an amendments convention, believing that at some point, as Americans became more frustrated with a feeling of powerlessness against the federal government, that Article 5 would become a serious and viable option for saving the republic. And here we are. Independence Day is upon us. But it is important to remember that America's founders faced a combination of challenges and opportunities unique in human history as well. And they rose to the occasion, seemingly unafraid, unfearing, and most importantly, unwavering in their belief that liberty would be their ultimate guide. They believed that men and women were meant to be free, and that was a God-given right to each one of us. And that we were to be a nation of rules and laws, not of men. Each of our founders and those who supported them were imperfect, and they didn't come from a single mold. They were doctors and lawyers, merchants, soldiers, printers, scientists, farmers, planters, but all men of achievement in their own right. They had a can-do attitude, a positive perspective, that the sky was the limit, endless for entrepreneurship, creativity, and of course freedom. These men had tasted tyranny and valued freedom with their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor above all else. So as we enjoy the outdoors and fireworks and parades and barbecues in our families, let us be consciously aware of why we are a nation of believers in the impossible, believers in a dream, in a can-do spirit, and in the true grit that nothing is impossible with God and with our American resolve. When Americans do hard things, we turn impossible into possible. Do we have a runaway federal government? Absolutely. Is it impossible to fix it? Not at all. But it will take all of us uniting together to once again elevate the largest constitutional discussion in the history of our nation. Well, really since our founding. And I, for one, am ready to engage in that discussion. And I pretty much guess all of you are ready for that too. I want to know what you did with your family this holiday. Please tweet me at Tamara Colbert, or post your photo at your picnic, your outdoors event, swimming, fishing, parade to the Convention of States Instagram page, which is at Convention of States. We, the people, must reign supreme and never relinquish our sovereignty. May you have a safe and blessed Independence Day holiday. Pick up that Constitution, read it together with whomever you're with if you can. And God bless America, and long may our flag and freedom reign. I'm Tamara Colbert for Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tamara Colbert in Texas. Tune in for more Liberty and Legacy next week. And to learn about Convention of States, head to conventionofstates.com. The Palin Update, including Liberty and Legacy, On Target, and The Crow's Nest, is on demand and available for download. So just head to mamagrizzlyradio.com, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Visit mamagrizzlyradio.com for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also available at sarahpalin.com by clicking the More tab. Like Mama Grizzly Radio on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Mama Grizz Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Tamara Colbert, at Tanya Yoga 13, and at FBR ABQ. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Go to breitbart.com/columnists/Kevin-Scholla. I'm also contributing to sarahpalin.com. Please check out my latest piece this week. Visit sarahpalin.com/author/Kevin-Scholla. Honored to be working on the governor's new site. I want to thank Tamara Colbert, Tanya Crow, and everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. Looking forward to Kelly Carlson's return. Thanks to Lightning, Cheryl Rusa, and thank you for listening today. A special thanks to our sponsor, Full Battle Rattle. Visit facebook.com/FullBattleRattleABQ. The Palin Update is produced by Lena Anderson, the Andy L. Kramer, and Lori Ann Lewis. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update right here on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day and happy Independence Day.